Anyone want to speak on that? Okay. The next one will be TP ordinance number 2002, an ordinance to revise and amend Chapter 17, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinance regarding the Planning Commission meeting dates. Anyone to speak on that? If not, both of those items will be on the regular meeting. We'll move into the regular meeting. I'll have Mr. Trent Forrest do the invocation, and I'll have Miss Bridget Hyde do the Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody will stand, please.
Stand and bow your heads before we came to you tonight. Guidance, wisdom to make this parish the best of our ability. Allowing us this state. Let's over guide us daily act on home and home safe. These things we ask in Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to ask everybody if you have a cell phone page or anything, if you'll mute it or turn it off at this time. Next will be adoption of minutes of regular meeting dated January 13th, 2020.
So move.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. I'm going to back up. We're going to take roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
Thank you.
Mr. Graffia?
Here.
Mr. Joseph?
Present.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Here.
Mr. Mayhew?
Here.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Here.
Ms. Hyde? Here. Ms. Coates?
here.
Okay, motion passes. Public input. Anyone wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing? Is anyone here to speak on any item on the agenda? Okay. Parish President's report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have a few items, and then I do have a couple of notes to give you. The first item is approval to seek bids for selling timber at the parish landfill. We've supposed to have been doing that for the last couple of years to just begin to prepare for the future and see if the bids will come back decent to make some okay money on that. How much is it, Andy? 66 acres.
Also move.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Richtel, second by Mr. Wells, to allow the administration to seek bids on the selling of timber at the landfill.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel? Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Motion passes. Number 2.
All right. Second is to approve the disposal of files damaged in the 2016 floods. They were stored at our Roseland facility, and that building flooded during 16. The ability to recover those documents is pretty much gone. They range from 2011 to 2015 records. If you'd like, I can kind of go over a list of them, and some of them we have the electronic data, but we don't have the paper anymore. Some of them we have none. Not everything's bad. Like, for instance, I'll just run the list. We have vendor documentation, POs, deposit slips, credit card statements, accounts payable, cell phone bills, financial statements, W-2s, 1099s. Those we have the electronic data for, but we don't have any copies. And then we have the work orders, landfill scale tickets, landfill invoices, gas tickets, permit office reports, time cards, Section 8 grant documents, and personnel files. We don't have the paper copies anymore, and we don't have any electronic data to back it up. That is just mold, mildew. It's just the documentation. It's just in too bad a shape to even to try and recover it.
Mr. President, have we checked with somebody to see if it's okay for us to, or do we have approval to do that?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, and you have it in writing, so we covered in case something happened.
Missy, go.
Hey, Robbie, where were these stored?
They were at the Roseland facility, one of the
Yeah,
offices over there.
Yeah.
Not all of them got the humidity, the moisture, the mold, mildew, and all built up, and just we moved them as quickly as we got them out, but
I'm not showing anything else.
well, it's all off the ground now, above the flood line. And it was August of 2016. So
All right, well, let's go ahead and we can see what Missy says when she gets. Do we have a motion to do that? Motion by Mr. Joseph,
Second here.
second by Mr. Mayhew, to allow the administration to dispose of the damaged files from the 2016 flood. Roll call.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest?
Missy, do we have some written documentation that it's okay for us to destroy these files, or emails or something from whoever the power may be?
I will check and verify that
Okay.
and make sure we. The issue is that I think Robbie, did you explain it to them? They have mold all over them, and they are beyond repair. So we're paying for them stored right now rather than. But yes, I think there's something from state archives that
Okay.
we have.
Yeah, just so we got something to protect us in case we do away with them. Okay. All right. Mr.
if you'd
Miller?
like, we do my little notes, then we'll do the little
Sure,
reports.
go ahead.
Okay. First of all, your financial reports are on your desk. Make sure that you have those. Job openings. Every month I can tell you what the Go Jobs website is being advertised. 1,338 open jobs to Tangipahoa Parish. The average wage this time is $37,603. You should have a brief listing of that on your desk. Can't find any of our folks with a room full, but you should have a list to break down where it's medical, various ones. Some of them have the actual wages, and it's they're entry level jobs all the way to engineers and doctors and nurses. So, but the opportunities are here in Tangipahoa Parish. So, if any of you know someone who's looking for a job, we have the Go Jobs Career Center on Market Street in Hammond, and shortly we'll have the one open here on Mulberry in Amite. And with that being said, we can turn. If y'all have any questions for me, okay, I'm gonna step out of the way and let Ginger Tossett come and talk to y'all about our litter program. Right, the children who help. I will say while they're coming up that this is a great program. Our children get involved, and goes to the classroom and teaches.
Y'all come on up.
Come on up. And then they go out and help pick up and make sure our parish gets as clean as possible. Who's the spokesperson? Y'all have one? No? Okay, I'll put y'all on the spot.
I spread out.
Night. But as you know, we're in all the schools in 2 different times, 10 weeks at a time. And so they have to do a poster on the effects of litter, how it hurts the wildlife. So also Bridget and Kim, was able to go and judge some of the children. So they got to see firsthand. But I believe it is working. Boys and girls, do you litter anymore? No, ma'am. Why? Right. Okay. Would y'all like to say your name and what school you're from? Okay, go ahead. Courtney Christian School.
That's all right.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Very good. Y'all did my whole school there. Yes, you did. Yes.
They get a grade for it in the classroom as well, so they will not litter, and you don't let your litter either.
They're working on it.
No questions, just say great work, and just remind your parents every day. Don't lie.
They end the program by taking a trip to the landfill. That's really an eye-opener. Because we first start out, it's a dump to them. Dump, right? But what is it? A landfill. That's correct. The first thing they say is dump, and but it's really the landfill, right? Yes. So they are definitely learning. Now, he got all of his stuff on this poster right here.
Wow.
That's why we voted.
That's a great example. Really is.
So that was, he went out and picked all his stuff off the,
Well, y'all need to recruit some more of y'all classmates and tell them how much fun y'all have doing what y'all doing. And I'm very proud of all of y'all. I think we all are, that you're taking, because y'all going to be the future leaders of the parish. So good that you're taking an interest in the parish. So we really thank y'all for everything y'all do.
I want to thank Ginger and Charles Terrell and his son of Dr. Martin Luther King. Beyond that, a lot of the kids in the elementary and Lorraine came and helped. Highway 51, State, all the way back into the far from clean now. The challenge is for our people who live there and people pass it down, keep it. That's the challenge.
Very true.
Good job. Thank you.
and look, this is the parish. They have dined to meet the parish president. They can't wait to meet the president.
Everybody,
Okay. Chad.
And council, just so you know, this last semester was 10 weeks, that
Carlos.
from Monday to Friday, we had 350 kids that was in the program.
That's
Wow.
great.
He does like y'all watch.
I think they got plenty of cameras, so hold your pose. That's just the front row. They got to get the second row here. Hold your pose. Hold your pose.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think they're making headway in that battle, I think.
Come a long way out. A long way. And when we were thinking about these things.
It's been a long road.
All right, since we're in the happy spirit, I'm going to move a couple of items up. We're going to do number 11, the special presentation by Vietnam Vets of America, Chapter 1052.
That would be me, Mr. Chairman, representing DBA 1052. This chapter. I don't think I have any of my brothers here. So I'll speak for the membership of Vietnam veterans. And Rob, I'd like for you to come and explain. All of you that I want to talk to the audience. Can I get right here? We dedicated the Environmental Services Building in Hammond in honor of Vietnam veteran Mike Thompson. Mike served with the only Medal of Honor winner that I know of. We did a shadow box. And we here for a number of months. And we moved it to the VA, the big VA hospital in New Orleans, intention of moving it back to the Hammond VA clinic. However, big VA outranks us. So they said they wanted to stay in New Orleans. So we gave in. However, we did manage to get frame replica of what Mike did. Brothers asked me that this to our parish president, please, where you see.
Have someone like Mike serve so admirably.
And so, yeah, I think break all our veterans. I just had a just where 500.
Thank you, Louis. Okay, stay up there. You got another one.
I gotta go get something down here.
We'll take no.
I don't usually do all this. I don't hold meetings, but it seems like
Yeah, right.
No, number 10 is recognition of Ms. Tanya Mabry, President of the Southwest Regional Council of the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials. And the man who never hogs a meeting is up next.
I want Tanya. Tanya is a hard worker, good friend of mine. I've been knowing her family since I've been out here. Good people. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to let Tanya explain to you all what this is all about. Then I'll do the presentation. Okay with you?
That's good.
All right.
All
Tanya
right.
Mabry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the position that I hold with Southwest NARO. So first, I would like to thank Mr. Joseph, Mr. Carlo Bruno, the council chair, and other members of Tangipahoa Parish Council for recognizing me on tonight. I would also like to thank Mr. Robbie Miller, our parish president, and Mr. Joe Thomas, our CAO, for supporting my vision. I met with them about a year ago, and I asked them if I was nominated for Southwest President of NARO, would they support me and allow me to fulfill the duties that come along with the position? Without hesitation, they both agreed. A year later, I stand before you as the president of Southwest Region of NARO. NARO, which stands for the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials, has 3 levels of participation: the state, the regional, and the national. I served as past president of Louisiana Housing Council, which is the state level, from 2015 to 17. As the Southwest region of NARO consists of the following states: Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Missouri, New Mexico, and Texas. As Southwest president, I will be responsible for representing the Southwest region in the various states on the national level. Also, I will serve on the Board of Governors for National NARO. NARO is an organization of about 17,000 individual members and associates. More than 2,600 agency members, including housing authorities, community development agency, and redevelopment agencies, are affiliates. Our members bring more than $1.5 billion of community developed block grants and home funding to their communities. NARO members also provide more than $7.9 million of assistance to low-income families. I'm very humble and grateful for the opportunity not only to represent Southwest Region of NARO, but the greatest parish in the state of Louisiana. So you may ask, how will this position be helpful to our parish and community? It puts Tangipahoa Parish on the housing radar with our local, state, and national officials. It creates a seat at the table where our concerns and issues that affect our community directly can be heard, and it affords our parish more avenues and ways to gain access to affordable housing for communities that we service. Last week, we held our leadership retreat in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and our national president, Sonny Shaw, challenged us to get our local and state government officials involved and to participate in our conferences. So I want to encourage you to consider attending and participating in our regional, and national conferences of NARO to learn more about housing and what we do as housers in our communities. I'd just like to take a moment and say to thank God for opening doors and granting me this opportunity, to thank my staff, colleagues, family, friends, and sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for their support in being here on tonight. And again, I thank you for the opportunity and recognition, and may God continue to bless each one of you, our parish, our state, and the United States of America.
Thank you.
Let's say to you, John. And pray. I think you get this. All right, I know Tanya's parents are here. I want them to stand up, be recognized in our family. Oh, that's, oh yeah.
Thank you.
This is yours, and I'm from the place. All right, I'm through hogging the meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all all. Okay, we're going to move to number 4, approval of the tax exemption application for Gnarly Barley Brewing Company. Mr. Parish President, would you like to make any comments on that?
Very briefly, this is an ITEP for one of our own companies. This is a constitutionally offered incentive for manufacturers. The objective is to bring a property tax break on manufacturing equipment, very specific pieces of equipment and processes in order to grow jobs, which Gnarly Barley is going to do and do more. And it does not exempt everything. It only exempts this one piece, this one project. They still pay their property. They still pay other taxes, their property taxes, sales tax, and inventory tax, which can be substantial. Our vote of affirmative, which I support, is a signal and a message that we are open for people to come and bring their business here, for existing businesses to grow, that we want to help you to do it. Because in this case, it's a short-term exemption that provides for long-term success. And I just think that it's something that we should really do. It provides for more jobs, more career opportunities at Gnarly Barley, and they're going to produce more sales tax, more inventory tax, and their employees are going to go spend their money in our parish, which generates more sales tax. So it's just a good all-around, a very short, small exemption for long-term success.
Okay, what's the wishes of the board?
I just want to make a few comments too, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think we're talking about an investment of $700,000, if I read this
It's
properly.
actually, it ended up came in a little bit less.
Okay.
Close.
Close.
360.
And then I think the employee payroll increase would be $150,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think this is in.
Is the revenue from Gnarly Barley?
We have the owner and
I just have one question.
consultant.
Sir. Yeah, do y'all get samples?
The exact answer is yes. And the answer is yes, just not right here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion, please.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Wells, a second by Mr. Joseph, to allow for the tax exemption application for Gnarly Barley Brewing. Roll call.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu? Yes. Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Forrest? Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Well, it seems like y'all can keep making those cans. Get them out there. Thank y'all so much, and we welcome y'all to the parish, and thank y'all for investing here. Thank you. Okay, number 5, Tangipahoa Parish Registrar of Voters, request for approval of a part-time position. We have our registrar here with us tonight. Would you like to come up and tell us what you need there?
Good evening.
How you?
I miss y'all.
Yeah.
Spent so much time with y'all for so long. We have, our fearless leader is finally retiring on January 31st. I'm sure that you all have heard that. We have our current part-time parish worker who we will be moving up to a full-time position. And so we're looking to fill that part-time parish position. And so looking in the revised statute, we had discussed it. The money is already allocated for the budget, so there's no issue budget-wise, but it does state that I need the parish's permission in order to go forward to hire one. So I wasn't sure really if I needed to do this every time I need a new worker, but I figured we would go ahead and do it.
Sounds good. Do we have a motion?
Also move.
Motion by Mr. Vial.
second.
Second by Mr. Joseph, to allow for the hiring of a part-time employee for the Registrar of Voters, and this does not change the budget. Funds are available. Roll call.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest? Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes. Hey, motion passes. You're in good shape, girl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, number 6, discussion of possible appointment of auditor. Mr. Dennis James is here. Do you want to come up and say a few words, and then we'll discuss what's going on? As y'all know, over the years, Ms. Lee Gray and Mr. Lee Gray have been our auditor for a number of years. Ms. Gray is due to, I know she's, God bless her, she's dealing with a couple of illnesses in the family, and she's decided not to be our auditor. And so we've contacted Mr. Dennis James and his firm to see if they may be interested. As you know, we like to keep this in the parish if we could. All of his employees live and work here, and we like to try to keep the money circulating in one place. I'm going to let Mr. James give you a little presentation on what he plans to do, and then if y'all are okay, we'll take a vote on whether we want to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, council members. Many of y'all know me. I've had the privilege and honor, and by the grace of God's blessing, worked with the fire district for 5 years now. And why my firm? Number one, I have 14 full-time accounting professionals that work, live, pay taxes, support our local community, all of which live here in Tangipahoa Parish. 11 of those 14 are graduates of Southeastern Louisiana University. In fact, the only accounting graduates I will hire are graduates from Southeastern. I encourage my employees to participate. Our members are in the Boy Scouts, Hammond Children's Museum, multiple Kiwanis, Rotary, and Chamber organizations, Future Farmers of America, and numerous local churches, schools, and charities. So they're all engaged locally. They support what is happening in Tangipahoa Parish. Qualifications and experience, I have 6 certified government qualified auditors with an average 13 years of experience. I have 6 licensed CPAs. I've been working with parish governments myself for over 35 years. Some of the current clients I work with obviously is Fire District number 2, Consolidated Gravity Drainage District number 1, and many others. What I'm proposing tonight is somewhat of a sharing arrangement with the prior auditor. I've met with Ms. Laura Gray, and if she's willing, and if the council's willing, we would like to have her continue to be engaged in the council and write the audit report. we will serve as the auditor, but the actual writing of the report, which is a fairly lengthy document, it's over 100 pages long, we would like to work with her to do that. Our proposal for the audit is $72,500, which is about a $15,000 decrease in what you have been paying over the last 3 years. If Ms. Gray would like to write the report, and if the administration would like to have her write the report, we're willing to reduce our fee by $20,000 down to $52,500, so that the administration will have the resource to be able to hire her to write the report. So I just want to encourage you to think there's many, many auditors that you can choose from, but we're here locally. We've got an extremely qualified staff. We're ready to get started right away, and we think we can bring to the table a better process for the council and administration. And I just want to answer any questions that y'all might have before you make a decision.
Dennis, one of the things, I think, Mr. President, I think y'all have kind of worked out a deal between y'all and
Yes, sir.
Ms. Gray to do the report. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So without going into what that is, if maybe possible, if y'all could talk, but I think they've reached an agreement on a fee. If we can feel comfortable that what that fee is, if we can deduct that from what your proposal is,
Yes.
I think everybody's in pretty good agreement. I would think that by doing it that way, where at least it's a shared thing and we could do it. So I don't know if y'all had any discussion on the final agreement.
We haven't, but Mr. Chairman, if I could mention that this arrangement where one CPA writes the report and the other CPA audits the report is very, very common in government, because generally speaking, the standards don't really encourage the auditor to also write the report. The financial report is the product of the administration, and the auditor's role is to audit that report and make sure that it's materially correct. So what we're proposing to do is very common. It happens in many, many governments, and I will be happy to meet with the administration after tonight's meeting and work out a mutually agreeable arrangement with them.
So Robbie, you're comfortable with?
Yes, sir.
I tell you what I'd like for you to do, Dennis, if you could get with the parish president now and Laura, and y'all agree, because we're going to need that figure if we're going to vote tonight.
Okay.
So if y'all could take a few minutes, and we'll come back to the item.
Yes, sir.
And make sure that everybody's okay on the same page, then we can come back and address it tonight.
Okay.
Okay?
Just
All
one
right.
comment. I did hear that overall, we'll see a $15,000 reduction.
It'll be a $15,000 reduction in what we have been paying over the last several years. And we just think that the combination of the administration writing the report, some of the technology efficiencies that we can bring to bear to the audit process, we think will yield some savings to the taxpayers of the parish.
Then the only comment I'll have is that we've had some real good experiences with you guys at the fire board and consolidated
not
drainage.
yours.
Well, and I'll just mention, when we took over the contract for the fire board, we reduced the fee by $30,000 the first year. We're able to process bills on behalf of the chiefs in one-day turnaround time. And that $30,000 reduction has been there for the last 5 years. So our contract of Fire District 2 has saved the taxpayers of this parish about $150,000. Are we going to bring the same energy and professionalism to the audit that we have brought to Fire District number 2?
So,
Thank you.
Mr. James, you're saying that your figure was going to be $52,500,
Yes, sir.
and then in addition to that, whatever y'all agree for Ms. Gray, that would be just basically.
If the administration
Writing
writes
the
the report, our fee is $52,500.
Laura, it's public record, so we could discuss it. The agreement that y'all reached between you and the administration, what is that figure?
For the actual audit report.
Okay, so your 72,005 would be reduced to 52,005, just
Yes.
like
Our
Lionel
audit fee is
said.
$52,500.
Okay.
And I have one other question.
Mr. Chairman, if for some reason the administration is not able to write the report, then our fee will be $72,500. But
Okay. Mr. Wells?
And the other thing is, Mr. James, so Ms. Gray would just be responsible for writing the reports. You won't be responsible for any of the audit
That's correct.
procedures
That's correct.
or interviewing or anything.
Basically, when it comes to the report, I will be answerable to this council, and any council members that have any question will contact me, and we'll work out the details during the course of the audit. And we're ready to get started right away, by the
So
way.
look, let's all get on the same page here. The 72,500 will be reduced by 20,000. That's going to be the administration handling that part. What we're approving tonight would be $52,500 for the audit. The 20,000 is between the administration and Ms. Gray. Okay? So all we have to approve tonight is the $52,500 for the actual audit. Now, Dennis, I guess the other question is, would you be able to hold that for a period of 2 years or do you see any?
Mr. Chairman, what we would like to do is guarantee that rate for the next 3 years.
Okay.
It's advantageous to hire your auditor for at least 2 years so that they can develop an understanding of your organization and develop some audit efficiencies. I would not be willing to accept a 1-year only contract, just not economically viable for me. So I'm happy if the council sees fit to lock that in for the next 3 years. And then after that, you can come back and revisit it. And, you know, there's no such thing as a 3-year contract. If after year 1 you're simply not satisfied with me, then you can call the state auditor, fire me, and hire somebody else. But we'd like to have at least a 3-year.
I'd like to.
Go ahead.
I've been knowing Mr. for over 30 years, and I've been in the banking industry. I see a lot of his work. Very important. Does other work. He's great. He lives in does hire a lot of. I'd like to.
And I'll second that.
Okay. You got a question?
Yeah, the only question is, are we?
No. This is a professional service, so we don't.
Professional service.
Okay, so go ahead. You got.
I applaud you that you have all your employees from this parish and from Southeastern and keeping it at home. And I applaud you also for working great.
Just one comment. Southeastern has the best accounting department in the state of Louisiana. And I try to hire the best and the brightest, and by the grace of God, the young professionals you see behind me are the future of accounting in this parish, and they're very good at what they do.
Right. Okay.
Is the 3-year commitment to both parties, or is it the administration is separate?
Well, we can't, all we can do is the audit, so that's going to be between you and.
Thank you. And Dennis, what happened to those other folks? They just didn't fit school?
What's that?
You said 3 folks didn't pick Southeastern.
Any other questions?
Just go Lions.
There's just 2 little comments I'd like to make. First of all, I want to thank Laura and her father for the years of service that they gave to the parish. They've been here a long time, and they gave us excellent work, and I wish her best in the endeavor that she takes on. And Dennis, you know how I feel about you and the people that work for you. You've done an excellent job for us, not only with the fire district, but with the drainage district. And I know that excellence is going to be the same with this. So to all your employees, thank y'all for what you do. You've always been great to us, and we really look forward to working for y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I'd like to go with a roll call, please.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank
you, Mr.
y'all.
Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, number 7, adoption of TP ordinance number 20-01, an ordinance to grant a variance to TP ordinance number 1913, mobile home placement standards for Christine Williams at 17066 East Coleman Avenue, Hammond.
Chairman, that was in my district, and it was on the agenda 2 weeks ago, so I so moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Wells,
Second here.
second by Mr. Vial. Roll call.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Forrest? Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Number 9, adoption of TP Resolution Number R2001, EDAT grant for Scariano Brothers LLC. Mr. President, you want to address that?
I will. EDAP grant is actually an expansion. I mean, the Scariano Brothers want to expand their business, and it's an economic development award program that's offered by the Louisiana Economic Development to assist government to improve public infrastructure around expansions, new jobs. I mean, new places. In this case, it's an expansion. In this case, the state looks at the increased number of jobs, the payroll taxes, all the various taxing income that will be produced or increase that will happen from this expansion, and they develop a formula for a grant. And the grant amount for this particular project is $250,000. And it's, for the most part, it's going to fix the road, the Scariano Drive off Crisp Road, to widen it to handle more traffic so they can park and wait as they go line up to unload. I will tell you, this is a very small piece of their overall expansion. They're putting a fuel station. This is the first step to be able to double the size of their warehouse, which would be very good because then their inventory values go up and property taxes go up and all that. So the caveat here is the grant from LED is based upon the job creation, the payroll tax and so forth. It is guaranteed by Scariano and Tangipahoa Parish government. We will have a separate agreement with Scariano to tie them more, or as much as we possibly can, that we are off the hook. The threshold to hit the $250,000 is not that great, but we're still going to make sure that we have that backup, so that it wouldn't be the max 250. It works its way down if they hire one person. Or, if they hire less people, then they don't get as much credit. But we feel very good about this. So that whenever Scariano was first built, there was an EDAP done to build that facility, update Crisp Road, to do some sewer and water upgrades along there, and that was paid back actually in about half the time that they expected. So they have a history with us to be successful already.
Okay.
Mr. President, they're widening the road. Is it going to keep that traffic going to Old Baton Rouge Highway?
Well, the Old Baton Rouge Highway is supposed to be a very infrequent position because it's not very convenient for them to go there. We are going to do some work on Crisp to help that a little bit more, but the majority of it is so that they can stack the trucks. Right now, they're having to stay on Crisp, which then backs up traffic. So the idea is to get more of them onto the property. Although it's a public road, it's into their.
It's not about as much as bringing more traffic there.
No, sir, not at this point.
Okay.
It will in time when they double the size, but it is all working on. They're working with with DOTD to improve the Old Baton Rouge Highway Crisp Road connection.
Yeah, neat.
There's a lot more work going on. This is just a small piece.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Wells, second by Mr. Mayu, to approve the EDAT grant for Scariano Brothers LLC. Roll call.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest? Yes. Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Bristol?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We're going to jump to number 8. I skipped it. Adoption of TP ordinance number 20-02, an ordinance to revise and amend Chapter 17, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinance regarding Planning Commission meeting dates.
Also move, we talked about this at the last meeting. All the members of that board are agreeable.
Okay, motion by Mr. Vial, second by Ms. Hyde, to approve the change of meeting dates for the Planning Commission. Roll call.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yeah.
Mr. Bristol?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Number 12, Haino Road residents concerned. Somebody here for Haino Road? Okay.
Liz Williams, and I live on Haino Road. And I've spoken in the past with Mr. Robbie Miller. Thank you for talking to me, and Mr. Joseph. I have a problem with the gravel truck and the gravel pit that's operating adjacent to the landfill. We have gravel trucks that start on the road 11 o'clock at night, midnight, and they go 7 days a week, all hours. You know, they start at midnight and they're on the road till 7 o'clock at night. And I'm hoping that somebody can help to reduce the number of trucks or reduce the hours or something. It's just too much. It's in the last couple of weeks, we've had trucks overturned on the road. We get run off the road. It's just too small of a road to have that many trucks up and down the road. So I'm hoping that y'all can help.
Ms. Williams, would you give us your address on Hano?
55364, Hano.
Anybody,
I
Lewis?
think we have something on the books. Y'all can correct about the hours of operation, don't we? Gravel pit? Y'all know?
We do have one, but I don't know what the hours are.
I don't think it's on at 11 at night.
I don't think so.
7 days a week. Now, Sundays, they don't run, you know, the trucks don't run as much, but the gravel pit is open, or the gates are open.
Y'all can give me some.
Robbie, you want to address this?
Well, whenever we met with Ms. Williams, we were discussing then, and it's still taking way too long. I think it was May of last year that we met. We talked, at the time, we were working with Southern Ag, that's who operates that gravel pit, and about trying to reroute a new road back out to Highway 40 through a right-of-way on Warehouser. Required a coordination between Entergy, Warehouser, us, Tangipahoa Parish government, and Southern Ag. Taken a long time, but we're still working on that process. We finally got an answer from Entergy last week that we're not able to use the existing right-of-way, so we'd have to establish a new one with Warehouser. So Southern Ag is actually, they're here, and they're working, trying to work closely with Warehouser to see if we can shift the road over and get all off of the Entergy property altogether and create a new road that goes out to Highway 40. And so it's in the works, and I was very clear that to Ms. Williams that we're working on it. We understand it. We want to. Just it hasn't happened fast enough for any of us.
What about the hours of
Ask if Southern Ag can come over.
The gentleman from Southern Ag is here.
Saturdays we are open.
And they do. They park in front of the gate. I mean, they'll line up 6 and 7. You know, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be there though if it wasn't for y'all. So, I mean, we have to live with all that noise, and I'm telling you, it really is.
Ma'am, hold on.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna have someone to check on the hours of operation.
Okay.
But, go ahead.
Gone.
Right.
No, that's a separate ordinance from the noise. Because we did that years ago when we had a couple of problems with some gravel pits and stuff. But that is a separate ordinance. It's not tied to the noise ordinance. No, that can't, no. Yeah, we don't have it. The only thing you would have is if there is something on the books about hours of operation, then unfortunately fortunately for her and unfortunately for the gravel pit, it's going to be, one's going to be happy and one's not, you know, so, but I can have Kristen research that and see if she can find it.
You're saying they're not loading at 2 in the morning, they just parking there?
First in line.
It's not.
How much is the access from the gate to the main road? Parking on the main road? They could be ticketed for that.
called the sheriff's office so many times that they finally told me to come before the parish council. I've called and complained about the speeding.
Let's do this. Let's let Andy, and Kristen's going to do some research and see if we find it. If we do, then if there is an ordinance, then we got to abide by the ordinance. But let's see what we can do, and we'll have somebody in touch with you,
I
okay?
thank y'all, and I thank Mr. Miller. He was really nice to meet with me.
Well, and even if you get it now with the weather, how can you, it would be impossible to build a road right now, as wet as it is. Oh, it is, it is. Where would that come out, on Durban?
Well, we haven't really finalized that area, but
Right. Okay. Well, Miss Williams, let us work on this, and somebody will be back in touch with you, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, appointment to the Quad Area Board of Commissioners.
That's my appointment. Want to appoint Mr. Robbie Rogers to the board of Quad Area.
Okay.
Make that motion.
We have a motion from Mr. Robbie Rogers, I'm sorry. Motion by Mr. Mayhew, second by Mr. Richtel. Roll call.
Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Okay, motion passes. Number 14, appointment of committees, council committees for 2020. I think you may have it. If not, I'm going to read them right quick. On the Finance Committee, Mr. Wells, I'm asking if you'd serve as chair. Vial, Mayhew, and Coates. Okay? A subdivision will be Vial, Mayhew, Richtel, and Hyde.
Could we, Kristen, could we change that officially to Developmental Regulations Committee? Thank you.
Okay. Y'all got those? Okay. Litter would be Vial, Coates, Joseph, and Ingraffia. Garbage is Richtel, Chairman. Mayhew, Forrest, and Coates. The jail, Joseph, Hyde, Ingraffia, Richtel. The Council Personnel Committee, Vial, Wells, Ingraffia, and Joseph. And the Railroad Committee, of which, Joy, we really need to get something going with that again.
Okay.
But I'm making you the chair, and
Give me y'all list, and I'll send it up.
it'll be Mayhew, Joseph, Forrest, and Coates. Okay?
Chairman, I'm going to send you.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to take care of that now. Yes.
Mr.
All right.
Chair, can I make one comment?
Yes.
Developmental Reg will meet next Wednesday, the 5th, at 2:30, Clausenville. And there should have been a notice sent out on that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and then by unanimous acclamation, Mr. Joseph will be the library board appointment. He wasn't in the room when we took that meeting, so you're the lucky rascal that gets to remain there.
I love that committee.
All right. Okay, beer, wine, and liquor, none. Legal matters?
Real short report. Many of you know that the road contractor for your road program was in default and unable to complete your contract. Good news is that we were going to avoid litigation. The bonding company has agreed to stand in, take over the job. They have a replacement contractor in place. We should be executing the contract with them to make that happen, and so that's going to happen with no additional dollars prepared.
Very good. Thank y'all. Wesley, that must have been a little work by y'all, huh? Right. Okay, I've got one thing on the legal matters. A while back, we had hired Municode to look over some ordinances to see where we had conflictions with state law and all of that. They have returned this back to Kristen with a report, and there needs to be an ordinance wrote up to comply with what they're recommending here. And their recommendation to Kristen was to either have our attorney do it or they could do it. I've talked with our attorney. It's a time-consuming thing. So if y'all are okay with it, since they've done all of this, is to hire them to do the ordinance that we need to pass to correct these things in our code of ordinances. So we'd have to bring it up tonight on unanimous, to vote to allow Kristen to contact them and let them proceed with the ordinance.
Do you have a call?
Huh?
While we're doing that, I'll make the motion to bring it up.
I'll second.
It just says an additional cost, it doesn't say.
We will find out the cost before we do it. If it's a absorbent amount, we'll bring it back before we approve it, okay? All right, motion by Mr. Forrest, second by Mr. Vial to bring it up unanimous for discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Ms. Coates?
Okay. Now, a motion to allow Municodes to do the ordinance that we need to coincide with this, but we will get a price before we agree to it to make sure we're okay. I'm going to send it down. Y'all could all take a look at it. It's several of them, Kim. It's several.
And they reviewed the entire code on the 20-something chapters, and that's the review from it.
Okay.
Recodifying the
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
they have all the data and
Hey, Bridget, is this what you've been working on also? Same packet or different? The one we're talking about tonight? Is that the one that you've been working with the folks in Baton Rouge? No, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a different. This is a different
these
one.
are all your ordinances.
This is just cleanup ordinance.
Yeah, these are on our ordinances up here, not, okay?
Okay,
I make the motion.
right.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Joseph,
Second.
second by Mr. Mayu, to, let's just say, get a quote from Municodes on the drawing up of the ordinance to coincide with what they did on the ordinances. And then we'll bring it back at the next meeting to approve it. How's that?
That sounds,
I'll make a
Okay.
winner.
sounds,
Yeah,
It's expensive.
yeah, okay. Roll call?
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest?
Okay, motion passes. Any councilman's privilege?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me get Mr. Forrest down there and look.
Okay.
Just an announcement on February 8th at 1 p.m., the Southeast Lady Lions will be hosting a Play for K basketball game. The proceeds from that game will benefit KYAL Cancer Fund. The Lady Lions will be wearing pink uniforms that were donated in memory of my aunt, Kathy Dale Forrest. There will be free admission and halftime recognition for all cancer survivors. So I would just encourage anyone that's able and has time to attend the basketball game for Southeastern Lady Lions on February 8th at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Forrest. Mr. Joseph?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce
Yeah, I was going to take care of
newly
it.
appointed mayor of A.B. City, Mr. Walter Daniels. Walter, you want to come up?
I would just like to tell everyone that I'm here to work with everyone, and I appreciate what y'all can do to help the city because we want to move forward. And anything I can do for you, I'll do it.
Walter, have me on speed dial.
Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck. Congratulations.
Okay, anyone else down here on this end? Yes, sir, Mr. Mayu.
Just like, I know everybody knows about this, just, keep Mr. Kobe Bryant in y'all prayers and his family and all the people that were lost in this tragic accident. It's, really a horrible thing that happened. And, everything that you hear about him, he really donated his time when this happened. Everybody keep him in.
Okay, Mr. Rizzo?
I don't know if he's here. John Stewart with the Census Bureau, is he here tonight? I was supposed to get him put on the agenda, but he never contacted me that he was going to show up. I want to make
You want to get back, you want it on for the next?
Well, not until he calls me back.
Okay. Anybody else down there? Ladies?
Thank y'all.
Mr. Vial? Do you have anything?
Well, actually, one thing about
Never mind, I just wanted to say.
You key something on the census, you know, and I know maybe Robbie wants to expound, but it's very important that everybody participate in the census. And I think the reason the gentleman's calling all of us is, I think it just started last week. I think the official one in Alaska was the first person. But I mean, a lot of dollars that come to the parish, a lot of grants, a lot of things are based on that. And so it's really important that we get the word out about people participating in the census. Because the estimate of Tangipahoa Parish, it was 105,000 pre-Katrina, I believe I'm correct. And now that last estimate I saw is 135,000 people. But it does no good if those 135,000 people are not counted. So, you know, it's not based on what we think the estimate is. It's based on who fills out the census.
Well, and that's all good for federal funding and all kind of different
it's
things,
really
so it
tied
means
to
a
lot of
lot.
things. So we really need to get that word out. I'm sure that's why the gentleman's calling. He's called me. I know they need some workers. I think the pay's pretty good. Can't remember exactly what it is. We do a lot of the door-to-door stuff, $15 an hour to do the door-to-door stuff. But, you know, it's not based on what our population is. It's based on who fills out the census data.
Impacts them.
Yes, and congressional seats and all of this. You know, so it's very important that people participate. And I think that's taking place this year, and then we'll have to reapportion 2021. Correct.
Mr. Wells,
Based on
since Mr. Joseph hogged the meeting all night, do you have anything that you would like to enlighten us with?
Well, I think Mr. Joseph took all my time.
Okay.
Put it on the back burner.
Mr. Mayor?
To add what David's talking about, I contacted a lot of the pastors in my district to talk to the people at the churches and explain to them what it's about and set up with the census man to go to the church and talk to them. So a lot of times, you know, you see somebody pull up with a sticker on the side of their car, you don't even want to answer your door, you know. And but I encourage y'all to get your pastor, all the churches, and that's where you can really pull the people and get them signed.
No, you're the only one that don't like it when somebody with a sticker on the car pulls up to your house.
I worry sometimes. Thank y'all, guys.
All right, anybody else?
One other thing.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Joseph,
Yes,
I know the Saints are in the Super Bowl. What are you going to watch this weekend?
I can't watch. I don't have the heart to watch anybody else.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion by Mr. Wells.
Mr. Chairman, I guess nobody said anything about it, but I'll make this motion in the honor of LSU being our national champion.
Hey, there he goes.
That we adjourn.
Got a motion by Mr. Wells,
Here.
second by Mr. Vial. All in favor?
Nice.
All opposed? We have a fire board meeting, so nobody leave.